Saturday, February 28, 2026, 8:15 a.m. in Tehran. The first day of the workweek was beginning with the usual hum of traffic and commerce. But in the corridors of the Pentagon and the Kiryat in Tel Aviv, a different clock had reached zero. Within minutes, the silence of the morning was shattered by Operation Epic Fury, a daylight offensive that changed the map of the Middle East forever. The strikes were not just military, they were symbolic. Over 200 fighter jets, the largest sortie in the history of the Israeli Air Force, targeted the very heart of the Iranian state. The residence of the 86-year-old supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khomeini, was among the first hit. While official reports on his fate remained shrouded in mystery, the message was clear. There are no more red lines. This was a decapitation strike designed to paralyze a regime that has ruled for nearly half a century. President Donald Trump's declaration of major combat operations wasn't just a military order, it was a call for revolution. By urging the Iranian people to take over your government, the White House moved past containment and into the territory of regime change. The justification, a preemptive strike against a nuclear program that Washington claimed was days away from a breakthrough. But the strikes hit more than centrifuges. They hit the Ministry of Intelligence. They hit the aerospace forces. In the south, a girls' school in Hormozgan became the tragic face of the conflict, with over 80 lives lost. In the cold language of modern warfare, this is collateral damage. In the reality of the streets, it is the spark of a regional fire. Iran's response was immediate. Within 4 hours, the first wave of counterstrikes began. But Tehran didn't just target Israel. They targeted the infrastructure of the Allies. Missiles rained down on U.S. bases in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE. In Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the luxury of the Palm Jumeirah was interrupted by the sound of falling debris. For the first time in generations, the safe havens of the Gulf are no longer safe, with the Revolutionary Guard declaring the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The world's energy lifeline has been severed. Oil markets are in a tailspin, but the military escalation is only beginning. Iran calls this operation Fatah Khaybar, a name that echoes a 7th-century battle. This isn't just a war of missiles. It is a war of historical destinies. Now, we look east to Pakistan. For decades, defense analysts have spoken of the invisible wall. Iran was the buffer that kept the chaos of the Middle East from spilling into South Asia. If that wall falls, Pakistan becomes the most vulnerable nuclear power on Earth. The dilemma in Islamabad is existential. Pakistan is officially part of the Board of Peace alongside the U.S. and Israel, the very nations now dismantling Iran. Yet, the Pakistani public feels a deep connection to their neighbor. If a pro-Western regime is installed in Tehran, Pakistan finds itself encircled. To the west, a hostile Afghanistan. To the east, India. And to the south, a sea controlled by the U.S. Navy. The domino theory suggests that once the regional powers are dealt with, the lone nuclear Islamic State is the final piece of the puzzle. As we enter the next 48 hours, the world watches Beijing and Moscow. Will they intervene to save their energy partner, or will they watch as the American Armada reshapes the Persian Gulf? The S-400 systems and Chinese diplomatic pressure are the only things standing between a contained strike and a global war. History tells us that starting a war is easy. Ending one is the impossible task. As smoke hangs over Tehran and sirens wail in Tel Aviv, one thing is certain: the era of strategic patience is over. The era of the Second Iran War has begun.